Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. If you have the goal to become a millionaire, you might wonder, what's the best approach? What's the path that guarantees success to getting to this seven-figure status? Well, it turns out there's a few approaches. Well, 4 to be exact, and each have their own varying likelihood of success. The most commonly talked about path is probably the saver investor route. The saver investor types make up 22% of all millionaires. Now I say this is the most talked about path because this is really the basis for all traditional financial education. You get a job, get an income, save and invest a portion of that income, and do that for an entire working career. And you'll end up building yourself a pretty nice nest egg. And I wholeheartedly believe in this approach. I think this route is the most accessible route to building wealth over time. Consider that putting away just $200 a month starting at the age of 20, you could build a seven-figure nest egg by the age of 65. This shows the power of investing small amounts over a long period of time. It shows how powerful that compound interest really is. That's why I say that this route is the most accessible route, because anyone can get started investing even with small amounts of money. You could get started with, say, $50 a month. You can't beat an area that has low barriers to entry. The 4 hallmarks of people in this category are: 1, they typically had a middle-class income. 2, they kept their costs of living low. 3, they saved at least 20% of their income. And 4, they started investing early and continued to do so throughout their career. You can open up your own brokerage account and pick a low-cost index tracking fund, or you can simply invest through your company's retirement plan, usually a 401k, a 403b, TSP account type like that. These account types are wonderful in that they are tax advantaged, in that your money gets to grow completely tax-free. And as an added bonus, many employers offer an employer match, which means free money for you, and you never want to turn down free money because, hello, it's free money. Show me the money! If you do this over the course of an entire working career, you could build a seven-figure nest egg. But keep in mind that building a seven-figure nest egg in your 401k still keeps you in a pretty elite league. As Fidelity reports, 401k millionaires make up only 1.4% of 401k accounts. I think because this route is so accessible, it makes sense that it is the route that is the most often talked about. And honestly, I was kind of surprised that only 22% of millionaires say they took the saver investor route to get to millionaire status. I honestly thought that percentage would have been much higher. But no matter what route you take with your finances, I think this is a great starting point because this route builds good financial habits. So you can probably imagine my surprise when I recently read an article featuring multimillionaire Barbara Corcoran where she said, "I'm just not a believer in saving money. I've never saved a dime my whole life." I'm sorry, what? Perhaps you're thinking like me, there has to be a catch. So let's continue. I think the carefree attitude of believing that money makes money, if you're willing to share it and spend it, really works. I don't believe in hoarding money, saving money, everything like that. Because for me, it would just take my spirit away. What the frick? Seriously? No, to say that I disagree with this is definitely an understatement. I still think you can enjoy money plenty while taking a small portion, setting it aside to ensure that future you is taken care of. YOLOing it is definitely a more irresponsible attitude and definitely going to get you into financial trouble. When Corcoran nearly went bankrupt for the 5th time during the 1990-1991 recession, she says her mom advised her, "Don't worry about the money, it's a waste of time." Corcoran added, "I thought of an idea that made me $1 million the next week." I just want to take a quick beat to say kudos to her on all of her success because I'm proud of anyone who's successful. But honestly, this is really stupid advice to be putting out there to the masses. Most of us are not coming up with $1 million ideas every single week. And I'm sorry, striving for 5 bankruptcies, I definitely don't consider that ideal. This is really probably only advice you can give when you're worth $100 million because I think it's totally unrelatable. I think a better plan for practically everyone, or 99.999% of us, is to save and invest and ensure that you're building yourself a brighter financial future. The next common route to millionaire status is the climber path, and this group makes up 31% of millionaires. I think think there can be a lot of overlap between the saver investors and the climbers because a lot of the skills you learn, like budgeting and living below your means and taking a portion of your income and setting it aside towards investments, are very foundational skills. And implementing these skills when your income is lower, like when you have a starting salary, is important. And then you stick with that through an entire working career as your income grows, and then your life just gets easier. Because you really can overspend at any income level, and you really can describe yourself as a saver investor at any income level. You can make $50,000 a year and describe yourself as a saver, just as you can make $300,000 a year and describe yourself as a saver. I think a higher income is fantastic. And yes, it should be much easier to save and invest a portion of your income as your income grows. The bigger shovel makes the road to wealth easier. But we all know that it's not guaranteed that people are saving more just because they have a higher income. Many people continue to live paycheck to paycheck. It really just depends on your lifestyle. Now, the hallmark of the climber path is that they're focused on climbing that ladder. They're taking on more responsibilities, aiming for that next promotion, aiming to get that next bump in pay. And if that next promotion isn't coming from the company they're working for, they aren't afraid to switch jobs, as switching jobs is often a great way to boost your pay. In fact, in a small study on millionaires, career change-up was actually pegged as the reason for their financial success. All millionaires had one thing in common. They quit their mid to late career jobs, saying they felt it was the only way they could truly succeed and build wealth. Some left to start their own businesses, while others found lateral roles that offered more growth opportunities and a higher salary. These millionaires had a lot of the same complaints that a lot of workers have. They felt undervalued, had toxic bosses, bad company culture, they didn't feel like they were being paid enough, among other reasons. If you feel stagnant in your career, it's probably time to do something about it. Don't be afraid to make a change, because boosting your income is a way to hit your goals faster. It allows you to save a bigger percentage, and it allows you to spend a little bit more today so you can actually enjoy your hard work and enjoy your earnings. Remember, finances really are easier with a bigger shovel. The hardest route to millionaire status is probably the dreamer route, and dreamers account for 28% of millionaires. Arguably, this is the hardest route because it requires a lot of sacrifice and success isn't guaranteed. Dreamers might be entrepreneurs, think Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and yes, Barbara Corcoran. Or they might be famous athletes or actors. I'm not going to try to name any here, I'll just embarrass myself. I don't really know any. But to succeed in this route, you need skill and a touch of luck. And if Malcolm Gladwell has anything to say about it, impeccable timing. Those that succeed on this path tend to do so on a bit more of a grand scale, and they tend to have overall higher net worths, with the average dreamer having a net worth of $7.4 million. Of course, entrepreneurs can absolutely succeed on a smaller scale, but it's just worth noting that this category tends to have more of those breakout success members. Think of this category as high risk, high reward. And because of its high risk nature, it's going to appeal to people of certain temperaments. It's not going to appeal to everyone, whereas some of those previous routes actually are more accessible. And finally, we have the virtuosos path, and these virtuosos account for 19% of all millionaires. The virtuosos are the best of the best in their field. Now, of course, they weren't born with this knowledge. They worked in their field where they continued to advance their skill set and their knowledge to the point where they became the best. And now they're sought after because of their knowledge, and perhaps they can create a second successful career as, say, a consultant because of their expertise. Again, I don't really look at this one as being mutually exclusive to the others. A lot of these virtuoso types were probably climbers. They probably worked really hard in their field and became successful, nabbing every single promotion along the way, until one day they realized that they could be compensated more by educating in their field and sharing their knowledge rather than just being one personnel member or one worker in their field. And because they have such an expertise in their fields, they command top dollar, which could absolutely be warranted. But I do want to argue that many of these virtuoso types probably learned the skill of saving and investing when their incomes were smaller. Then, as their incomes grew, a greater dollar amount just went towards savings and investments. Those foundational skills really matter. Learning to manage your money with that very first paycheck is one of the best things you can do. There are so many ways to achieve financial success. Choose the route that works best for you and your goals. But no matter what path you choose, I think we could all use a little bit of a saver and investor at our core. I think it makes the journey that much more secure. Let me know your thoughts in a comment down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye.